So your first goal might be, how do I find myself? And then once you're settled in or pretty close to settled in, you can say, set a goal. And then the journey becomes exciting. It's like, damn, I reached a deeper connection with myself.
Journey and goal, which is the more important thing to be focused on as an individual who wants to have nice things in life and achieve things, and we want quote unquote success, whatever that definition is.
Well, it depends on where you are within your own journey before you start the journey of, say, reaching a goal. That makes sense to you. If you're empty and then you set out a trajectory to go, I'm going to make $10 million and then I'll find myself. What is the purpose of your goal, your outcome? So you get excited because and again, for high achievers, the reward is the goal. So you get excited about the journey because it's like no matter what you think your surface desire for that goal is, your underlying desire is like, if I reach that goal, I'm going to be more entangled with myself. I'm going to be more, say, connected to myself. Okay. And that's why it's really exciting. The journey becomes really exciting at that point until you reach the goal. And then it's like not exciting anymore. What most people do is like, they can't stay there. They wane down and then they start that journey again. And then it becomes exciting. But the next time that goal becomes harder, the next time becomes harder. This is where a lot of those people, they get really angry. They get really frustrated. They go out, and have an affair. Or they cheat, or they do something stupid, or they get more addicted and all that stuff. Because again, they start to realize that the closer they get to that goal, that last goal that they have, it's not going to satisfy them, and it's like, they know it even before they achieve the goal. So that's how worse it gets. So if you're, again, lost, so to speak, okay, if you're really lost, you want to find yourself first before you set out a goal. So your first goal might be, how do I find myself? And then once you're settled in or pretty close to settled in, you can say, set a goal. And then the journey becomes exciting. It's like, damn, I reached a deeper connection with myself. They don't fall back down that level. They just don't, they stay there. It's a whole different twist, isn't it? On leadership, goal achievement, anxiety, depression. There's a lot of CEOs, there's a ton of CEOs out there. And this is another aspect of people, committing or disconnecting. CEOs separate themselves. They're weak or they're insecure on the inside. They didn't clean up their internals, right? They didn't expand. And what they do is like, if I become this CEO wolf, so to speak, or the lion, right? If I wear this facade, then I'll be good. So over time, they're still weak on the inside. They're still insecure. They're addicted and all that because they've created that separation of identity. CEOs create that all the time. And then their success, especially for women, their success goes, hey, Moss, you know what? I created all the success and I don't even feel like a woman anymore. That's why, because that separation, because women have to turn into a man to be successful. So they think that's not true either.
I think about high level executives and CEO type people, overachiever types. And I think a lot of people would self-describe themselves that way, right? It's like, I've been like that since I was a kid. I've always wanted,
Yep.
But it can be a dangerous and maybe slippery slope if you recognize that tendency in yourself.
Absolutely. Yep. Or you feel a void, you feel a void the more successful you get. And then those kind of people, again, they're not like, say, they feel a void inside, but they're not disconnected. There's a difference between a void and, say, a separation of self. Those people who feel a void from their success, they'll do philanthropic projects,
right?
To feel, say, vibrant again, and it doesn't really work out well. It doesn't help the people that they're helping. They might help at a physical level, but at a deeper level, it's not beneficial to them. It's not beneficial to you because they're not looking for that kind of help. You're not looking for that kind of help, by the way. although it's beneficial. I'm not saying philanthropy is bad. I know some of you will go, Moss said philanthropy is bad. I never said that. I'm just saying you want to do it the right way. Okay.
What
Yes.
are the telltale signs for ourselves or people in our lives if we're disconnected and to avoid a fate such as this?
So if you're feeling disconnected, or if you're wondering, is like, is life for me? Or you're going through the motions of life, whatever it is, or, people are laughing around you, you're laughing, and then there's this silent voice inside is like, why don't I feel as much of that joy as everybody else is? Right? Why am I not in the moment where I should be in the moment, congruent with space and time? Why am I not present? Okay. So that's a simple quiz, basically, right? Why am I not in that space? Why do I feel a void? Why do I feel, say, disconnected from whoever, whatever I'm doing? Why did I lose that passion? If you can just wake up in the morning and just feel, hey, I'm really good. You can have a morning routine. I'm not saying not to have a morning routine, but even before you have a morning routine, you're good to go. Does that make sense? You just like wake up and you're just satisfied with yourself, right? You don't have to say psych yourself up or wear somebody else's, say, identity for you to like yourself, so to speak. A lot of people psych themselves up. A lot of business individuals, a lot of entertainers do that, right? A lot of entertainers take drugs and so on to forget about who they are. So another identity, say, can come into them, so to speak.
Those are great, Moss, I think, like examples, practical examples that people can take with them, right? Like, go
Absolutely.
to bed tonight, they've heard this podcast, they've heard this interview, and they're going to bed tonight, they're going to say, okay, when I wake up in the morning, I'm just going to try and be more cognizant of if I feel some of the things that Moss just said. I like the practicality of what you've just explained.
Thank you.
And so if someone does that and they wake up tomorrow morning and they go, gee, I kind of do feel the way Moss was describing. People around me are laughing and I'm laughing with them, but yet I sort of feel like I'm not feeling the sort of the sense of joy that I should in this moment. Okay, so if they feel those and they diagnose themselves as being like, in that camp, what should they do?
One, they should literally observe what they're feeling, and they should observe the proximity of where they should be compared to how they feel. Because there's always like a duplicate identity in those situations. You feel separate from yourself, right? So at first, observe. It's like you might feel separate from your spouse or your coworker or whatever you're doing. But if you observe a little closer, you're watching yourself in that experience. You're not in the experience. You're always the observer of you having that experience. So and I would suggest doing, obviously, XI, the XI hyper meditations or the Moss experience on the Best You TV. That'll like keep you into that frequency. But those who are XIers, well, you probably won't feel this way. But the beginning XIers, you might want to throw an 18-day meditation and you'll pull yourself back in. And maybe in the future, I'm thinking of doing like short 10-minute meditations where it locks you into space and time for the day. And you'll see how, say, congruent you are and how powerful you are. A very, very simple boost type meditation. But again, the key is not to go, oh my God, I'm disconnected, because then you'll disconnect yourself more. But calmly observe the distance between your separation. Because it's about proximity. It's not about your emotions. It's not about psyching yourself up. It's about proximity on where your simulation is compared to where your simulation should be of yourself. For you to really understand yourself more and really do, say, leadership and success and happiness really right, I encourage you to join our XI community. Become exponentially intelligent, because that's what it's about. When you're exponentially intelligent, you're massively, say, successful. You're massively abundant in all aspects of your life. You can go to Moss on Sundays, again, mossajati.live, and that explains literally why life is the way it is, and then what to do about it to become abundant. You can join the XI podcast. You can go to masajati.com for some of the group programs that we do, like the 18-day hyper meditations that literally transform your life in a mere 18 days. Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Mas. Thank you so much. This has been great.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really good questions. Thank you.
Yeah.